Have you ever walked away from a conversation with a woman only to ask yourself, why did I say that? Or had a woman disappoint you by saying, sorry, I only see you as a friend, after you waited the appropriate amount of time to ask her out? If that's you, then you probably struggle at flirting and need to watch this video to the end. As a man, flirting is your opportunity to tell a woman that you're romantically interested in her. But if you suck at it, you'll end up putting your foot in your mouth, or worse still, getting stuck in the friend zone. So here's how to make flirting with women easy. To make this simpler, I'm going to break this video down into flirting do's and don'ts. So you not only know how to approach a woman, but also what to avoid. Let's start with what you shouldn't do. I've seen way too many guys crash and burn because they think being upfront is the best way to avoid the friend zone. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you shouldn't be honest about what you want, but you have to remember, women are socially conditioned to think of sex as something that is taken from them. So if the first time you meet, you ask her, do you want to get down? Most girls will immediately see you as a sleaze. Even if she's interested, she'll most likely still shut you down because she doesn't want to be seen as a slut for being too easy. That means you have to give her a plausible reason to act on her repressed desires. For instance, instead of asking her straight up if she wants to come to your place, tell her, do you want to go somewhere quiet to talk? My place is around the corner and I've got a great bottle of red. That way, she can easily rationalize leaving a bar with a stranger as just going for an innocent chat and drink before one thing leads to another. Another thing you should avoid is acting overly defensive. When you walk up to a woman at a bar or restaurant, her immediate reaction is to judge you. After all, with so many men throwing themselves at her feet, online and offline, what makes you think you warrant her attention? This thought process is even more common with women that are extremely beautiful, and she might even feel emboldened to toy with you by calling your lines cliché. To many men, it can feel disorienting when a woman teases you for flirting with her and their immediate reaction is to act defensive and plead their innocence. For example, if you try to pick her up with a clearly rehearsed line and she calls you out for it, you might reply by saying, lines? I'm not using lines. I've found that this rarely ever works and can make you come across as dishonest. In my experience, your best bet is to own it and double down. Here's an example. Her, does that line really work on women? You, all the time. I can tell you're already falling for me. Her, sarcastically. That's original. I haven't heard that one before. You, thanks. You're the first woman I tried it on. I can tell it's working. This approach is more likely to make her chuckle and can even open up the floor for more playful banter because she'll have to respond in one of two ways. One, she'll decide to play along, which can become an inside joke. Or two, the tables will turn and she'll become the defensive one. That ties in neatly to what you should do. When you're flirting with a girl, too many men approach flirting like they're trying to convince a woman to go out with them, which is a totally flawed mindset that gives her all the power. Instead, show up with confidence and act like you're the prize. Remember, you're not a salesman trying to convince her to buy something from you. You're a businessman with a proposition for a mutually beneficial good time. Trust me. When you approach girls with this mindset, it'll make her less intimidating while simultaneously making you more interesting. After all, no woman wants a man that has to grovel for her attention, but she'll willingly consider her equal if you see yourself as a man of value. At the same time, I don't want you to take this tip to the extreme by bragging about how much other women love you. You'll only come across as boastful, which many girls find unattractive. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're lacking in self-confidence, I've found out that the easiest way to fake it is by reversing the roles. That means playfully insinuating that she's the one chasing you. Here's an example. Her, so should we get another drink? You, I can clearly see your plan is to get me drunk, so you can take advantage of me. When you playfully twist her words, it introduces humour to your interaction, which can leave her wanting more. And when she's enjoying your company, it can give you the bravery to implement my next tip. Another aspect of flirting most men tend to forget is the physical side. Like I said in my video on 8 things women find attractive that men have no idea about. Girls love physical touch as long as it's respectful. You can go and watch that video for more details, but the main idea is that you want her to become accustomed to having your hands on her as quickly as possible, and you can pull this off by approaching it from the protective angle, like when you hold her hand while walking through a crowded place, or gently pull her out of the path of an upcoming obstacle like a puddle. With time, you can progress from these small polite gestures to more intentional ones, like holding hands casually, putting your arm around her shoulders, or gently squeezing her upper arm. before you leave the room. I'll always advocate that it's better to be safe than sorry. When it comes to physical touch, don't be too quick to make contact with her more intimate areas, like her butt or lips, until you've reached the third tip. Now listen up, because this is my most crucial point. When it comes to flirting, you need to start creating sexual tension between you two early enough to make your intentions clear. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the friend zone. The difference between the guy that gets banished to the friend zone and the one she ends up with is that the second guy never tries to act like her friend. For clarity, I'm not saying you shouldn't be nice or listen when she talks. Those are still things women want in their partners, but you do have to make your intentions clear from the jump while being subtle enough to not make her cringe. For example, if you're hanging out with a group of friends, try and make eye contact with her a couple times for at least 3 seconds. Locking eyes can make the outing seem more intimate, even when you're with other people. If you can wink at her, which is another subtle way to be flirty without saying anything. It might even make her blush if she's the shy type, which lets you know you're on the right track. When your relationship has progressed a bit further, you can start introducing sexual innuendos into your conversation. For example, if you play an instrument and she compliments your skills, you can give her a smile and say, "Thanks, it's the second best thing I can do with my fingers." The trick with creating sexual tension is that it often lies in what you don't say if she probes further by asking, "So what's the number one thing?" You can create even more tension by giving her an unexpected reply, for instance. You could say, "Cooking," which would completely change the topic, and add a little bit of mystery to your persona with the misdirect if she's visibly caught off guard. You can even tease her for having a dirty mind. On the other hand, you can also use it as an excuse to make physical contact by tickling her, which can then lead to other things. The point is, the more subtle you are in creating sexual tension, the lower your chances of ending up in the friend zone. So you see, flirting with women is actually easy, at least if you stick to the do's and don'ts in this video. If you want to feel confident in your body while putting these tips to practice, check out my video on 7 physical traits that women find irresistible. Also, if you found this video helpful, help out the next guy by giving it a like and subscribe for more insightful tips.